It is going to happen someplace, somewhere, somehow, anywhere, everywhere. So I do want you to understand, the way it was done was wrong. I totally agree with that, but I do want you to understand, I never thought I'd be in some of the positions that I've been in my life. Times change, things change. So please do not think that because you bought this property, that it would never, ever happen, because it will happen.
No, nor am I telling you.
I really didn't.
And I sent out letters to be as transparent as possible, just to let you know we were
Appreciate that.
discussing it, and it will continue to be that way.
Yes, this will be a discussion. She's going to bring back recommendations of what they have
And I'll
found,
send you another letter.
and then we'll gladly listen to it. I mean, I'm not saying that, no, just give me your money and shut up.
Shut up. No, we're not saying
We're
that
not
at all.
saying that at all. But that's also being said, everything has to be met at halfway. I'll tell you what, you push me in a corner, I'm going to push back twice as hard. Trust me.
Well, I just wish that would have happened at the beginning because, well, the amount of stress and anxiety that has already been put upon them 28 families, not counting one of them committing suicide because of the annexation.
Well, that wasn't my time. And now my time, I'm going to be as transparent as possible. So you'll get that letter. Let's do more homework on this, and then we'll send out letters when we're going to discuss it again to let these family knows that we're going to discuss it again. Their opinions matter to me, and I want to hear them. Let's move on to the winter parking restriction discussion. This one was from a resident that spoke actually last council meeting, if you gentlemen recall.
Yep.
He was looking for something somehow, some way, maybe we could push the time frame back. Is there something we could change? And I think after putting all the dice in a can and shaking it and rolling it out as many times as I had, I just don't see what we can change.
Unfortunately, we can't predict snow, can't predict how much, can't predict when, and we can't predict what the weather's going to do. And every city has the same ordinance. And matter of fact, and not to say this any other way, but City of Minneapolis and St. Paul put snow emergencies. They could put it on every single day if they want.
Right. There's also a resident that I know that his wife, his 3 kids, and his mother-in-law, 6 cars.
They have a two-car
That he was
garage or
fitting in it-
three-car garage.
2-car garage. So
Could
he's
they
fitting
fit
2 in the
cars
garage.
That leaves 4 in the driveway. Correct?
3-car garage?
So that should be,
And you were,
do that. 3 cars in the driveway, 3 in the garage.
yeah. That's the ordinance. You can only have 3 out. So, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars, 7 cars. Because there was somebody else, was there not? Did I miss anybody in that story, Don? No, it was 6. So you had 3 in and 3 out. But my point being is there's got to be a way that any resident of that matter can make this work.
I think if you can fit 4 cars in your driveway and not be crossing a sidewalk, I don't see a problem with that.
What if it's in the development where those sidewalks were screwed up and
Oh, the sidewalks are
Poorly
pushed back 30
designed.
feet? I don't know. This is a good question.
I believe you can fit Mayor and Council, I believe you can fit cars in there. You just have to make sure they're farther back. You leave a space in between.
I mean, I'm not
Sidewalks.
disagreeing. When those sidewalks have to be redone, we need to design them correctly.
And I think that's another thing when you talk about that is new developments, we need to start looking at the road standards for parking. I think I was going to bring that up when that was discussed too.
Whatever that developer was smoking that day, he should have been sharing.
Just for the record, we had a different engineering company back then than we have now, so.
Good.
But most of the time, those developers have their own engineer and yada, 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 so,
Sometimes aesthetics aren't functional.
no.
You think?
No, I have to concur. I don't think there's any way we can change this. I think actually it's pretty fair. If I remember, what is the parking regulations? It's 8
No, it's 1 AM till 8
8
AM.
AM.
But if they've come through already, they can park at 6 AM. if they
But
Yeah.
then that
Yeah.
resident was saying, who in their right mind is gonna get up at midnight, 1 o'clock to move their vehicle?
Move it before you go to bed.
Move it before you go to bed. That's what my answer
I
to
do
that
want to
was.
add too, Mayor and Council, that there are some special exceptions. If someone's having a big holiday party and they just have no way around it, they can call the city administrator or the chief of police and ask for an exception. We can look at the weather and determine and work with Public Works to see if it's feasible or not. So there is a way to work with them.
And Mr. Sylvester in Public Works is calling and saying, hey, we got this car out in the street. And sometimes you were explaining that you don't even call, you just let it go for a day, maybe two.
A lot of times we don't call. The cars are already tagged when we get there, and sometimes our first pass by, the car will be in the street, the second pass by, the car will be gone. So they hear the plow go by, reminds them, oh, I left my car in the street, you come by, it's already gone. So, it should be known too, we're not towing cars. It's very rarely that a car.
We're not in the
gets towed,
business
too.
to tow cars.
No.
No.
And if anything, they get a parking ticket from our fine police officers of the city of Isani.
Correct.
I mean, I do have to agree is I know somebody that got a parking ticket. This is a few years ago. He got a parking ticket. I think it was like November 15th or something. So it was after the thing, but there was no snow. I mean, let's be realistic here. I mean, if it isn't presenting a problem, just put a nice little reminder on the vehicle instead of a parking ticket saying, hey, you know, this is winter parking rules.
Councilmember Lindy, I do know that the police department does a very good job starting November 1st, and they do a lot of rounds of doing the notification warning, not a ticket per se, but they do start taking, after they've seen the same cars repeat out there and they've had the warning, they will ticket even if there's no
I
snow
saw a
because
ton
it
of
is
those
the
warnings.
ordinance.
And whoever was handing them out should have a pat on the back.
But I mean,
There's
it's
just nothing we can change here, is what I'm,
No.
unfortunately, there's,
Like I say, I wouldn't be opposed to that extra car parked in as long as it's in the driveway.
so you're adding a,
agree. I can agree with that.
in the winter.
It's winter or summer.
So you're adding a fourth car.
4 cars parked in the average sized driveway, you know, like that.
I wouldn't be opposed to that
As
actually
long as
either.
it's not impeding a sidewalk.
We could definitely look into it and bring it back at next call.
Okay.
Absolutely. Move on to item 16, the Barrow Special Guest Proposal discussion. I support this. I like the idea.
I
I-
just don't think we have a lot of time frame.
I don't either.
I don't think we have time.
What has to happen is, and Mr. Barrows is in the audience, what has to happen is this has to go to Jennifer Garvey. Jennifer Garvey is the one that handles all the park and recreation items. She has to put all this together. She has to, I just,
And typically it would be,
this could be an item for next year, most definitely, but even at that, for us to ask an attorney, the attorney didn't like it. What we would
Liability.
like you to do is if you could go to the Lions, Chamber of Commerce, VFW, I'll gladly help you do it.
Rotary Club.
Rotary Club, we'll find you a spot because you got a killer beard going, so to dye that bad boy white,
I mean, I put a lot of thought into this too and thinking about it, and
I like the idea.
I like the idea very much, Mr. Barrows.
You got about 3 minutes. And then I got one more item and we gotta adjourn.
No, I appreciate your time taking a look at that. As you even seen in what I had given you, there's a disclaimer with that. I mean, I'm not looking at anything for myself or anything like that. I had talked to you a couple times at the beginning of the school year. It was like, oh, wow, we really got to start getting going on this. And
Yep.
that put the ball in my court, if you will, to kind
We
of
still
speed
came up
things
short on time, Mr.
It
Barrow.
is. It's something that I still want to keep plugging away myself, but I know the time constraints are for this season are already coming up.
They're timed out, unfortunately.
But what I would like to do is continue working on this so that we can actually add this as an ISANI function starting next year.
Okay.
That we continue going forward. We're planning for it properly. Until I'm dead, I'm going to be living in this community, and I want to keep trying to do things like this. I had approached you about even like with the four-wheeler parade or the
Yep.
snowmobile parade.
Snowmobile parade.
Things like that. We need to start adjusting for the season because, you know, like I said, you can't predict the weather. Same thing with this. I think it's gonna attract more, community input, or community support if we can start putting events like this going forward. I really wanna talk with Ms. Garvey about that as well, just to see if we can't start looking at maybe next year, then we'll get this going and just start hitting it every year.
I don't want to divulge anything, but I've been pushing on a subject for Bluebird Park for this season.
Yeah, Jesus, Mr. Lundin.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying
You know,
that would be
I
a
really
perfect
think
fit for you.
that,
Yeah.
know, I do wanna work with the city about, I know this year's really hard. I'm going to do something on my own personal, you know, efforts, like you had mentioned, but I do wanna make this a nice anything. I've even mentioned it to other communities. The sheriff, he's like, wow, you're doing that for your community. I said, well, we're trying. And he's like, yeah, we wanna get something like that as well. I think going forward, I think if we plan for next year to.
The point that I'm trying to make to you is it's timed out this year.
Oh,
However, it's
absolutely,
not a dead
absolutely.
issue.
No, exactly, yeah. it's-
Okay, as long as we're good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Was there any questions about it, or?
No, I'm telling you, I've done a ton of homework on this, Mr. Morrow.
Okay.
And
Thank you, I appreciate at least looking into it, and then hopefully we can still work on this for next year.
Fair enough, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
We added a D17. It's a water truck. Mr. Sylvester, if you care to discuss that.
Okay, so it come to my attention that the city of Cambridge has a water truck that they're getting rid of. I'm not sure, what was the year, Dan? Do you know what year the truck is? I sent Public Works Foreman Josh Becker up there to look at the truck, and it's an extremely well taken care of truck. You could maybe explain, Dan, what some recent work that was done on the truck, but I think they wanted $2,000 for it, and some of my uses would be to flood the rink with it. We do at times have to water sod in the boulevards and that kind of stuff after some construction, so there'd be some watering sod, trees, whatnot. I could possibly rig the truck to some pre-treating for the roads. We have a truck now, so we maybe utilize it for something like that. Those are just some of my early ideas on the water truck.
And storing it. We had a storing issue that PD would lose a spot, but
It would be stored in the tin shed or at the shop right now. I mean, PD stores some stuff in there too, so in the wintertime, it could definitely get stored at the shop, but in the summertime, the shop fills up, and it'd have to get stored in the tin shed. So there's tight to everything over there now, but I think we could squeeze it in over there.
No. And for the money, I think we could probably get our use out of it.
I think we could too.
Good deal
I think so too.
for the shape.
This is coming from a car guy, so.
I'm the guy that does all the work on that truck.
Is it consensus thumbs up on your water truck?
Yep.
There you go, Mr. Sylvester.
All right,
Go
thank
get
you.
yourself a water truck.
Excuse me, Mayor and Council, so we'll identify a funding source, because this would be unbudgeted. It'll go on to the December 3rd City Council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Lundin. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Collison. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Therefore, we stand adjourned.